Back in the 70s, Robert Berliner, who was a faculty member at Arizona State, said that engaging students in relevant content is something for which there's no substitute. And so one of the mistakes and one of the challenges we have in the classroom is treating engagement as a single idea. So we often walk into classrooms and say the student is or the student isn't engaged, when in fact engagement is much more complex. So engagement as a concept has three main components. So an individual can be emotionally engaged. How do they feel about the content, and how do they feel right now? Did they have a bad morning? Did they have a good morning? Did someone pick on them on the school bus? Did they remember a test? Are they getting ready to learn something that fascinates them? So how they feel at this moment. The second aspect of engagement is cognitive engagement. What is it that we ask them to think about? And the cognitive principle behind that is we only remember what we think about. And so if learners aren't thinking about what we want them to learn, and they're thinking about something else, then guess what they're going to remember? The something else. And so once we get them thinking about it, the next step is behavioral engagement, and that's where they're motivated or prompt to action. They either are or they aren't going to engage in the task or the activity in front of them, and that's going to be based on what they're thinking and how they feel. So student engagement has three main parts: emotional, cognitive, and behavioral engagement, and they actually fall in that order. How we feel determines what we think about, and what we think about prompts us to action. So well-being at the social, emotional, and psychological level has a strong influence on what happens in our classrooms when we then move to cognitive well-being. And so they all fit together. In fact, some of the biggest predictors on whether kids will or won't grow in their learning are actually psychosocial or social emotional factors.